and, in February 2022, an Arlington judge barred enforcement of government. Glenn Youngkin's mask optional order for schools, a major victory for the 7 school boards that sued to stop it, and a sharp rebuke for the new governor, and in her 10-page order, Arlington Circuit Court Judge Louise DeMatteo offered a check to Youngkin's assertion of gubernatorial authority, writing that the Virginia Constitution gives authority to local school boards to make safety and health decisions, including masking, for their students, stating that a state law passed over the summer requiring school districts to comply with federal health guidance makes Youngkin's mask optional order impossible to carry out, because it, too, delegates authority over decisions such as masking to local school boards. In January 2022, led by the Board for Fairfax County Public Schools, the largest, most prominent district in the state, the Alexandria City Public Schools, Arlington Public Schools, Falls Church City Public Schools, Hampton City Schools, Prince William County Public Schools and Richmond Public Schools, all of which then still mandated the use of non-medical grade facial coverings, a distinction with a difference, had argued that Youngkin's order violates the Virginia Constitution, and their lawsuit asked for an immediate injunction barring enforcement of the order, which seeks to leave masking decisions to parents, contravening federal health guidance and the masking mandates that most Virginia school districts have maintained throughout the coronavirus pandemic. And, on March 30th of this year, a request for documents was transmitted via email to Arlington Public Schools under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. The purpose of the FOIA had been to obtain a copy of any and all documents related to the COVID-19 mitigation and prevention plan, particularly on masking guidance, that had been developed for the safe reopening of public schools in the most educated by credentials municipality in the Commonwealth of Virginia and the home of the most government scientists. The order had been issued by former State Health Commissioner Mohammed Norman Oliver, MD, on June 8, 2020, and some may recall that former Virginia Governor Ralph Shearer Northam, MD, had implemented a statewide masking mandate in response to the COVID-19 pandemic on May 28, 2020, a controversial topic, in which months of discord about the coronavirus epidemic had transformed the cloth mask into a potent political symbol, touted by Democrats as a key part of communal responsibility, labeled by some GOP leaders as a sign of government overreach and as a scarlet letter pinned on the week. After the school board first blocked the request on email, electing a dubious right to remain silent, and later, continuing to stonewall, most recently, claimed not to understand the request, this FOIA request is now the focus of contention in litigation commenced on March 16 in the Circuit Court for the County of Arlington, in what amounts to not only the first action commenced against a school board for their pandemic response, but also what may become the first grand jury investigation, seeking to obtain an indictment for those responsible for public school closures, as well as masking and COVID-19 vaccines, properly described as countermeasures mandates. Under Virginia Code Section 22.1-87, any parent, custodian, or legal guardian of a pupil attending the public schools in a school division who is aggrieved by an action of the school board may, within 30 days after such action, petition the circuit court having jurisdiction in the school division to review the action of the school board, which statute of limitations had told long before now on the COVID-19 response at the Arlington Public Schools. Under the controlling law, had that judicial review occurred, it would proceed upon the petition, the minutes of the meeting at which the school board's action was taken, the orders, if any, of the school board, an attested copy of the transcript, if any, of any hearing before the school board, and any other evidence found relevant to the issues on appeal by the court, and the action of the school board shall be sustained unless the school board exceeded its authority, acted arbitrarily or capriciously, or abused its discretion. As a practical matter, when an agency refuses to act, there is no action to provide a focus for judicial review, but some may recall that in a groundbreaking decision involving DOCA, for which Ralph Shearer Northam, the only physician serving as a state governor during the most recent pandemic, had led 2 full rounds of applause in Fairfax during his COVID-19 update to guarantee that everyone understood the Supreme Court's holding. Justice John Roberts, penning the opinion for the majority, had explained that in review of agency action, for which courts will grant regulatory deference, when an agency's initial explanation indicates the determinative reason for the final action taken, the agency may elaborate later on that reason or reasons, but may not provide new ones, or stated plainly, not even the CDC can rely upon evolving science to justify a government action, like the masking mandates, because permitting agencies to invoke belated justifications can upset the orderly functioning of the process of review, forcing both litigants and courts to chase a moving target. And it is a foundational principle of administrative law that judicial review of agency action is limited to the grounds that the agency invoked when it took the action. Of course, upon judicial review, the agency can offer a fuller explanation of the agency's reasoning at the time of the agency action. However, if those grounds are inadequate, a court may remand for the agency to offer a fuller explanation of the agency's reasoning at the time of the agency action. Yet, particularly in a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, an agency can deal with the problem afresh by taking new agency action, with the caveat that an agency taking this route is not limited to its prior reasons but, still, must comply with the procedural requirements for new agency action. But at least for now, officials at the Arlington Public Schools have elected a right to remain silent, and perhaps for good reason. As the court had observed in the Cali decision, after the My Lai massacre during the conflict in Southeast Asia, even a soldier must use common sense, and he acts of a subordinate done in compliance with an unlawful order given him by his superior are excused and impose no criminal liability upon him unless the superior's order is one which a man of ordinary sense and understanding would, under the circumstances, know to be unlawful, or if the order in question is actually known to the accused to be unlawful. Moreover, defining duty, means of knowledge with the duty of using them are, in equity, equivalent to knowledge itself. And, any action of the school board shall be sustained unless the school board exceeded its authority, acted arbitrarily or capriciously, or abused its discretion. According to former Supreme Court Chief Justice Earl Warren, in the landmark decision in Brown v. Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas, today, education is perhaps the most important function of state and local governments. Compulsory school attendance laws and the great expenditures for education both demonstrate our recognition of the importance of education to our democratic society. And, such an opportunity, where the state has undertaken to provide it, is a right which must be made available to all on equal terms. Was it an arbitrary or capricious decision to mandate non-medical grade facial coverings that the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health had declared definitively to be wholly ineffective in a respiratory tract infection over a decade ago, in the Obama administration? Not if officials can produce any credible scientific evidence to refute the findings in that robust simulated challenge study that had utilized the same diagnostic equipment that is used to rate the N95 and other medical-grade respiratory protection. Hence, on this review, the court must consider that any deprivation of that right to education, for almost 30,000 school-age children from K to 12 in the Arlington Public Schools alone, would, in abuse of authority and as a matter of law, constitute a conspiracy to violate civil rights.
This message was approved by Major Mike Webb. Honest.
And y'all come back now. Yeah.